Hi, everybody. How are we doing? Good. So many beautiful faces in this crowd tonight. Thank you all so much for being here. My name is Aubrey Maslen. I'm a vice president at L'Oréal with responsibility for communications, engagement, and strategic partnerships. We at L'Oréal are extremely excited to be here tonight and support this really important festival, this really important moment and opportunity for us all to come together in fellowship. Because at L'Oréal, we are the world's largest beauty company. Yes. I'm behind this couch. We are the world's largest beauty company with about 37 different brands in our global portfolio. And some of your favorite brands are included there. Think of Maybelline, L'Oréal Paris, Carol's Daughter, Garnier, yes, Kiehl's, Lancome, Urban Decay. I could go on and on and on. But really we're here because at L'Oréal our purpose is to create the beauty that moves the world. And we define that as beauty for all and beauty for each. And we know that a component of that is ensuring that the narratives that are being told about who is beautiful, what is beautiful, and how people are considered beautiful are expanded as wide as possible. After all, we know we're beautiful, right? In this room, we know we're beautiful. But as the world's third largest advertiser, which L'Oréal is, we spend over $1 billion a year in advertising. We have a responsibility, a purpose, and truly a goal of helping to expand that aperture of who is beautiful so that every single person in this room, every size, shape, creed, body type, age, generation is recognized for the beauty that they have outside as well as within. So we're going to have a conversation tonight. I'm joined by three brilliant panelists who are going to join me on stage. We hope you stick around, ask a question or two, sample some food as it gets set up, and then we've got some products at the end. Thank you all so much again for being here. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming our esteemed panelists to the stage. We're going to start with Mr. Ezra Knight. Please join me, Lisa Price. And last but certainly not least, please welcome Sidra Smith to our stage. Okay, so to get us started, we're here and the conversation is titled Reclaiming Our Beauty. Recognizing the ways in which so many of these pioneers on stage have really helped to expand that aperture and definition of beauty. So before we get started, I'm going to let our panelists introduce themselves in their own words. We'll start working our way this way. I think many folks know who you are, Lisa, but...
Well, they might not. Hi, I'm Lisa Price, and I am the founder of Carol's Daughter. Thank you. And contrary to popular opinion, I still work on my brand every single day. I am also a proud member of the L'Oréal Group, and all my L'Oréal peeps are right here. And it's a beautiful family to be part of, and it was the perfect transition home for my brand and my story. And I am so honored and blessed to be here. This is my first time at Martha's Vineyard, so this is so, so special and wonderful to me, and I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you.
I am thrilled to be here sitting with this amazing, amazing icon in our community. But my name is Sidra Smith, and I'm a producer and the founder of Six in Line Entertainment, and I show impact through storytelling. And I'm very happy to be here.
My name is Ezra Knight. I am an actor-performer, as designated by one of the many categories in SAG-AFTRA. I am a New York president of SAG-AFTRA. I am a national officer of SAG-AFTRA. Countless committees, very moved by union service, union issues, labor issues, and how that interfolds with African American community, with all communities, and how this ties in. Special thanks to Aubrey and L'Oréal for this consideration and bringing me in. And yeah, I just keep finding myself in incredible and amazing spaces. This is another one in that list of locations and energies, so very, very happy and proud to be here.
Well, let's dive right into the conversation. So the title for our conversation today is Reclaiming Our Beauty. I think for the first question, I'd love to ask each of you, what does reclaiming our beauty mean to you, either personally, professionally? How does that manifest or show up for you? Let's start with you, Lisa.
For me, it is about being comfortable with who I am and not who someone thinks I should be or what I'm supposed to look like. And what's interesting for me, and I have not shared this publicly really with anybody, last year I went through having a hair loss issue, which was like, for somebody like me, this is a problem. I kind of make my living off of this stuff on the top of my head. And it was scary and just difficult. And I had to let go of my signature look of my head full of curls. And I've embraced a head full of braids and a head full of twists, depending on my mood. I worked with my dermatologist to stop what was happening and begin to correct it. But I had to redefine who I was for me and be comfortable with who I am now. Because, you know, when you're 62, stuff changes. And that's okay. So I may not have that big head of curly hair that, you know, I was known for years and years, but I'm still beautiful, I'm still me, and I love who I see in the mirror, and that's what's most important.
Thank you, Lisa. Beautiful inside and out. Sidra, what does it mean for you, this notion of reclaiming our beauty?
You know, it's so interesting to see, like, I feel like bald heads are kind of trending. I'm 53, and I shaved my head as a 30, when I turned 30, it was a gift I gave myself. And I was like, I wanted to reintroduce myself to myself, because for so long I was like, worried about my hair. It was like all about the hair. And I was just like, let me let go of this. Let me give myself a gift of not. And for me, that's when I feel like I kind of reclaim my beauty, because for so long, it's like, I just felt like it was the hair. And then I realized that the hair doesn't really define me at all, you know? And then I also discovered that balls have more fun. So I was happy. So 20-something years later, but yes.
Thank you. Now, Ezra, you've got to first tell us, do balds really have more fun? No, but for real, what does reclaiming our beauty, when you think about this notion of reclamation, what does it manifest for you?
To be nobody but yourself in a world which is trying its best day and night to make you like someone else means to fight the hardest battle any human being can fight and never stop fighting. That is a quote from E.E. Cummings. Interference? Yeah, that is a quote from E.E. Cummings. And it's kind of something that I've known that quote for much of my life. And so holding on to your beauty and a sense of that is a constant battle. It is not easy for all the obvious and not obvious reasons. A world of oppression, a world of denigration. Our struggles are well known and documented, and how that translates into each of us, it has an effect there. So for me, reclaiming beauty is about making art. That's how I find my path to reclaiming that beauty and that manifestation of the soul, of the spirit, because that lies beneath the physical beauty. And if there's no soul beneath the physical beauty, that is soulless beauty, which has no value to the planet, to the world, to your people, your family. It has, it's something that needs to be nurtured and inculcated and cultured from within. So I'm an artist, ultimately. I'm also a father and a husband and a brother and a colleague and a fellow union member. So all those things tie into what I identify as creating beauty and keeping that sustained as I move forward. I'm also a bit of an optimist, so that's also part of my crux too, of holding that in my own space and giving that back.
I love that. I'm going to have to get that. Yes, round of applause. I want that quote from you later. This notion of maintaining your truth in a world in which everyone's trying to make you be something different is so powerful. When we think about reclaiming our beauty, so much of what we consider to be beautiful and the ways that we conceive it are based upon the images that we see on our TV screens, on social media, etc. And Lisa, you were a true trailblazer in helping to ensure that our beauty and our beauty products were put at the forefront. But I know that journey wasn't always easy. So can you talk with us about what some of those challenges that you may have faced in this notion of helping to expand the definition of beauty and ensure that Black folks were seen for the beauty that we possess?
So Carol's Daughter has been a brand for 31 years now. And if we think back to, thank you. If we think back to 31 years ago, if all of us could be who we are right now, but happened to be 31 years ago and we were all sitting in this room, the landscape of what our hair looked like would look very different from what it looks like right now. Right now, there's everything in the room, all different types of braids, all different types of wash and goes, fros, bald heads, silk presses, weaves, wig, like we have everything in this room. And 31 years ago, 90% of us kind of looked one way. And then there were the fringe. I was one of the fringe. We were weird. We were odd. People stared at us. And it is constantly advocating for what's different and putting forward what people don't expect. Jada Pinkett Smith was a spokesbeauty for Carol's Daughter. Most beauty companies didn't see Jada as beautiful. She was short, very petite, more of an athletic build. When we saw Jada, we saw Lena. We saw Will's wife. We saw a dancer. We saw a badass. We saw Tupac's friend. We didn't see all of that other stuff that they define as what makes you beautiful. Someone like Mary J. Blige, I remember the first time we did a shoot with her, and everyone asked, are you going to cover up her tattoo? Are you going to Photoshop her tattoo? Because she had an off-the-shoulder gown, took a picture with the tattoo on her arm, and I said, well, she didn't put makeup on when she came to the shoot, so why am I going to cover it up after the fact? If she didn't want to have her tattoo, she would have covered it with makeup. So it's being like that. And then, today we don't have to worry as much. When we do casting agents know what we're looking for and we get variety. But 7 years ago, maybe, not always the case. And somebody would say, oh, I couldn't find anyone. I would be like, hang on. I'm going to DM you some people. I got you.
I love that. So your brand, right, Carol's Daughter serves as this platform that then allows for the inclusion of people who look like us within an industry to say, hey, we're beautiful too, and this is the way we show up in all of our glory. Absolutely. I love that. Sidra, you have a similar role when you think about the huge ability you have to kind of shape the way that films, television productions, et cetera, show up, whether you're producing, whether you're writing, or whether you're casting. So talk with us about some of either the highlights of the role that you've had in this work and helping to expand that, and maybe some of the challenges you faced as it relates to really expanding that representation.
For me, back in 1999, I did a film about queer Black women because I didn't see any representation. And the few, well, let me say I didn't see any because I saw a few things, but they did. The queer women that I did see on TV didn't look like the women I knew. So for me, I was like, wait, we beautiful, you know what I mean? But and different and diverse. And so for me, I just I love telling stories about our reality and all the beauty and all the diversity. I tell people, if you don't have one queer friend in your script, I don't know what world you're living in. You know what I mean? So for me, it's about being diverse. It's about telling our story in the true authenticity of the reality in our lives. And it comes straight, gay, trans, thick, petite. And that's what I'm here for. So in everything that I do, it's very important for me to be diverse in that and authentic.
And that's the important thing, that authenticity, right? Because we are not a monolith as a people. We can show up in so many different intersectional and beautiful ways, and the work that you're doing there is very valued. Ezra, you played a really pivotal role. I think, how many folks remember the Hollywood strikes and all of the the writers, the actors that were shut down, Hollywood shut down? So Ezra here, you were really involved in helping to negotiate to ensure that when they went back to work, there were some protections built in to ensure that inclusivity was really placed at the forefront.
Correct.
Can you talk with us about some of those strides that you made there?
Yeah, absolutely. It's I don't consider myself a Hollywood actor that has an iconic kind of image of famous faces. I'm sort of a famous rank and file actor, right? So you might have seen me on The Equalizer, on Raising Kanan, or on Law and Order, or and who's that brother, right? That's most of us in this union. The Hollywood kind of image of things certainly tends to overshadow things. It can be useful. It was very useful during the strike because we did have our high-profile, famous folk coming out, waving signs, chanting, bringing the cause forward for the multitude of us, the other 90% of us, rather actually the 99% of us, who are lesser known, who have jobs that we want to do, who have bills to pay. So it was very, very important to have that strike represent the swath of who the other 160,000 members of SAG-AFTRA are. I am a standing member of the negotiating committee that helped negotiate this $2 billion contract that was very, very victorious and made incredible generational strides of making things better for TV theatrical performers, specifically, although this does connect to other things. So in connection to this, what's brought me back into this space again were the advances that we made in hair and makeup diversity, and getting guarantees in codified contractual language that if you're going to set for a role, who's in the makeup trailer for hair and makeup should be able to do your hair, as well as not make me look like a milk dud because they don't, what I'm saying? So it goes across, right? I need to have somebody who understands my skin. Not just brown makeup put on and then send me to set, but something that has a palette. Someone that's doing my hair even, because I could get razor bumps from a shave if the wrong products are used, if there's wacky razors used. And that's just me. I cannot begin to speak for all the sisters who had hair issues on sets that were not addressed. Most of the time, you just get it done before you went to work because you couldn't rely on the trailer to take care of you. So we addressed that after decades and decades of this issue coming forward. Not everybody's Oprah, right? Not everybody's, pick your famous black actress who has her own hairstylist. Or the brother, Denzel, he has his own barber. Most of us depend on what happens in the trailer. So we were able to put a dent in that with a consultation where you get to talk about what you need for your hair and skin and have them provide that. And if they cannot provide that, then they will reimburse you for what you pay to bring that. As well, absolutely, it's a big deal. It's a big, big deal for us, y'all. And it makes a difference in the industry. And so also for that time you spend getting that service done, you are also compensated for a minimum of 2 hours commensurate with your pay on what that costs to be there. This is new earth-breaking stuff in terms of the landscape that has been there for performers of color. And so, lo and behold, see, because I say the black tide lifts all vessels, you find that other people had this struggle too. The white Irish girl who's got kinky, weird hair and has never been satisfied with how her hair's been handled. The other fella with sensitive skin who, like, you know, they just couldn't, they get injured and stuff. This is like a safety issue for us too, right? It's safety and health involved in who takes care of you. And when I go on set and I feel like I'm taken care of, I'm gonna perform better. I'm gonna feel like I belong. There's suddenly equity in the space and inclusion in the space that speaks to better conditions for performers. So whatever we achieve always makes it better for everyone. And that's what was so important about this achievement.
That tide lifting all boats is something that's extremely important. Oh, I love that. So we've, obviously you all representing different industries. We've got beauty, film, television, production, etc. What does the future of this world look like? In a perfect world, we're manifesting a more radically inclusive world for black folks in television, on stage, behind the scenes when it comes to writing and casting and producing, as well as black beauty and creatives and entrepreneurs. What does this future look like, and what role can they play in continuing to push this narrative forward? I will start with whoever wants to start.
Oh my goodness. We were talking, Ezra and I were talking earlier about loving television and loving film and growing up in homes where we gathered around the television. And there weren't that many stories that looked like us and represented us, but you would find the commonality within the character as best you could. People in your family would help you relate it to someone. Oh, doesn't she remind you of Cousin Karen? She's a little bit like Aunt Norma, even though it's, you know, a white woman and Aunt Norma's not a white woman, but you find the common thread. And now I see my children, my children are 28, 27, and 18, and they have all of these options to choose from, and they watch People, and they watch anime, and the video game characters, and the avatars, and it's a space with expression, with creativity, a different type of storytelling, a different narrative. It's so important for diverse voices to control the story. When someone is in the producer's chair who looks like Sidra, then maybe the actor that Sidra hires doesn't have to worry that the makeup trailer is not going to be able to take care of her. Never. Because she's aware of what they need. And there are people that we're seeing now that we follow on Instagram that are becoming their own type of celebrity. Somebody like a Felicia Leatherwood, who's been doing hair for decades and decades and decades, but she does Issa's hair. And that changed everything, because Issa's not just Issa the actress. She's Issa the mogul, Issa the director, Issa the producer, Issa the show lead, Issa the storyteller. And that leaves more opportunities for others. So I see a world where the stories don't stop, where festivals like this don't stop. When you get to walk out of here and go next door and see Ingenue Ellis in a lead role. She was in Origin in a lead role because Ava said yes. We can't wait for Josh to say yes. We needed Ava to say yes.
That's right. There's two things there that I want to pull on. The first of which is this notion of nothing for us without us, right? So we can't assume we're going to show up, create a product, an advertisement, a formula for a community without engaging that community, which is something we're extremely committed to at L'Oréal. The second thing there that you mentioned is this notion of sharing authority and power in the decision-making process. So no one should kind of swoop in and try to tell the story of a community they're not a part of. You let that person, you spotlight them, you pass your mic to help them amplify their story and tell it the way they want it to be told. Thank you.
We made another part of this stride. was getting the AMPTP, which is the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, the big, the evil monolith that we fight so hard with to try to get our demands met and get fair pay and get treatment, et cetera. As conjoined with the consultation, we made sure that they were going to inform all of the represented producers as part of the contract to make sure that we foster more development of makeup artists and hairstylists who can work with multi-varying hairstyles and textures, who can work with multiple races and skin tones and textures and colors. So that's building groundwork for a world that will look different and be different as we move forward. And that's worth an incredible fight that was achieved. And so as we go forward, it's about now moving that ball forward, because once we speak to the diversity and equity and inclusion of our interests, we got to start and keep opening that up. Performers with disabilities, queer performers, right? Seniors. Right? How what happens as you get older as a performer, right? Where are the roles? Where's, it's like it gets isolated in all kinds of siloed approaches. So the effect becomes a ripple that starts to affect everything else about inclusion. And we know we're on the right track because there's some folks who are scared of that right now, who are trying to push things backwards. So we're in this. We've always been in it, but now we see how precious and important these festivals are, these moments of these talkbacks and ideas, seeing these young folks out here too in these chairs, impressing minds as we go forward, making something real that actually changes the world into what we want it to look like, which is one of beauty, of inclusion for everyone. That's what we need to be about.
And to literally just come behind that. For me as a producer and as a storyteller, I want to tell stories about every single person in this room. Like, we have so many stories to tell, and I love it. Seniors, queer, so many stories, and I'm committed to tell stories. I mean, I've been doing a lot of documentary storytelling and been going into communities and just learning about real people, just real everyday people who are doing things to change the world. And I always say 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now, when I die, I want to know that some of the films that I've touched is a reference point when people are learning about what was happening with Black people in the 20th century. But I'm definitely committed to that.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful legacy. Well, I know folks are getting a little restless. We'll let you get some food. So we'll close it up with one more question for each of the folks. And Sidra, you kind of hinted on this a little bit with your last answer. But as you think about legacy and carrying this on, there's two things that I want you to consider and provide to the audience. The first of it, which is, what do you want your legacy to be? And the second bit of this is, what role can folks in this audience play in helping to continue that legacy on in ways that, as Ezra put it, lifts that tide for all boats?
I'm a unionist, and that doesn't always translate well to most folk, especially even members of my own union, who don't see it as a value, per se.
Oh, wait a minute, y'all.
Did the rain happen or something? For young performers in my particular space in this union to see the importance of union membership. Black folk, especially Black women, have been backbone and pillar of union movements forever, holding it down, unheralded, unsung, in trade unions, in boardrooms and like buildings, and like putting stuff together and holding things forward and maintaining membership and union solidarity. We are in that space. So I know it's a very important thing for me within my union, and then like the bigger picture, because our victorious achievements in the strike would not have happened without solidarity of other unions. not just performers, because we're all fancy and famous. No, how's the plumber fit into this? How's the flight attendant fit into this struggle? It's all connected in terms of labor and our achievements, because now what we achieved in the diversity of the hair and makeup space is now being reflected in other unions and what they're going to achieve at the table as well. Our achievements with artificial intelligence, getting guardrails on that for consent and compensation for the usage of your digital replica. That's a very, very big space that's opening up now. Other unions, other laborers are recognizing the importance of it, so it feels even more heartening to be part of what's actually starting to change the landscape and the world for everyone. So we don't go backwards in time. I just said hello for the first time to my first granddaughter. So I can't thank you. I'm sitting here, you said legacy, and I'm just trying not to cry because, but because Carol's daughter, Lisa Price, goes back to my eldest daughter who just birthed this grandchild. So the cowrie shell in the sugar cookie body butter, in the little tin, we go back to that with my daughter. So it's just tied in, y'all. So the works that you do create your legacy, and you never know where that's going to lead. Just keep reaching and keep connecting and moving it forward and make it better.
Just really quick with me, I want the work that I do, I want people to be entertained and I want them to learn, so to be entertained and learn, and that's what I want my legacy to be.
I was sitting here listening to what everybody was saying and trying to decide what I was going to say, but I want my legacy to be that someone else looked at what I did, and not just one person, multiple people, and said, I didn't have the education for that. I didn't really have the money for that. I didn't have the knowledge to do that, but I went ahead and did it anyway.
Amen.
Because I was cooking stuff in my kitchen and giving it to my friends. I did not know it would lead to all that it led to, and that it would make me who I am today. And I still go in the kitchen and cook stuff for my friends. Sidra will tell you, she gets a Christmas box every year. And it amazes me what fear and insecurity could have kept me from. And I'm so grateful that I pushed through the fear and the insecurity and did it anyway. That's what I want my legacy to be.
And I just have to say, this woman has opened doors. I mean, think about how many entrepreneurs, because of what you've done, you've made so many entrepreneurs, so many women in this beauty space are millionaires literally because of what they saw you do. And you were the first person I ever knew who did products. Carol's daughter was all, we were just talking about this over 25 years ago, like me and all my friends, it was all about, we were like, ooh, it was like special. Jada was the first person who turned me on to it, and we were like, ooh, what's that stuff? That is some special shit. And we used to be like, ooh. But when I tell you, I'm so proud to sit here next to her because I'm like a super fan. Like, she is an icon, and I'm just like, I love you so much.
Thank you.
Y'all heard that in the audience. Your call to action is get you some Carol's daughter. All right. Please, please, please join me in giving these panelists a round of applause. Thank you you all so much for coming. This has been brought to you by L'Oréal Group. We will continue to show up to these types of moments and events because we believe in our community and the importance of empowering each and every one of us to shine. So thank you so much and stay beautiful.